Hey world, have you ever wondered how these strapless princess line garments end up fitting so well, or have you ever tried one and then that ended up with a lot of gapping around the bust or in the arm or underneath the bust or any of that kind of fun stuff? Well, check this out. The pink lines that I've drawn here all over the place, which are kind of obnoxious, these are contour lines. So this changes the shaping of the bodice, front and back, to eliminate extra fabric space and to better curve the pieces against the body. So I'm going to quickly draft this dress I have over here with a button band, a flared skirt. It's one piece, so there's no waistline seam. And then it's got a sweetheart neckline. I'm ignoring that there's like a shadow of a bolero here because this is the more important part. Okay, here we go. So contouring has to do with removing extra fabric where it is not needed. So what I'm going to do is start drawing some guidelines around the pieces. So this has two pieces in the front and then most likely two pieces in the back. It's hard, you can't see it because I didn't draw it on here, but that's how I'm going to go about it, is to do two pieces on the princess seam front and back. So we're going to come over here. I've already drawn some guidelines on this, but I'm going to draw a bunch more and you'll see why. Okay, so there's that. And this is going through the princess seam. Right now I'm just drawing them on the like the main guidelines, not the dart looking guidelines, so not these here, just that similar center line. Sorry, words are hard today. All right, and so then this will come down through here. We're going to follow our original dart leg in black, although that gets our pink dart leg, which was the contour guideline. And then we're going to come back down to here. And then I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom of here. And complete the pattern so far. Okay, step one. Now we have, let's change the color so we can see it. I'm feeling blue. That's really not easy to see. How about green? I like green. Okay. So what we have going on here, this pattern piece looks like it would work in theory. It does follow the curves that it's supposed to, but if you were to wear this, you would have a lot of problems fitting. There would be a lot more fabric around the bust than there needs to be. So to eliminate that, I'm going to follow my pink guidelines and add some anchor points. So what this means here, from this pink line to this pink line, we need to remove this slice of fabric. So I'm going to add, this is just for visualization purposes, adding some dart, or well, they're kind of like dart legs actually. When the pattern is finished, they won't be darts. You won't be sewing them like darts. These pieces will be flattened out and you'll never see them. So there won't be weird seam lines. Whoa. Once this is completed. I'll do my best to follow that pink line. The fact that it comes in a little bit and then goes back is probably a good idea. Like I said, the less fabric we have here, the better. Same idea here. I'm actually just going to move this anchor point along this line and then readjust. That's pretty good. Same thing here, we'll have to take out. I'm going to throw a guideline here. I believe this is an inch. Let me double check using my measurement tool here. It's about, yeah, so that's an inch. An inch of the bust line wow, words are really hard today. Eliminates, that's the word I was looking for, the spanning across the bust. So you could leave this in if you wanted a bust bridge to be flat across between your apexes, or if you take this out, it'll contour in towards your sternum and then back out toward the other bust. So I think that will look the nicest for this pattern, because we want, not on the guideline, on the pattern itself, we want this to fit like a glove. So in anything, if your pattern is not fitting, what you should do is remove more space, just like this. Okay. And then we're going to do another one here. So this was a original dart in black, and then pink dart moved up to the bust point. Same idea. And then these other pink lines remove even more space outside of the bust. So this line I'm just going to draft over to here. And I don't like that curve at all. We're going to just turn it into a corner for now. We'll come back to that later. And then I'm going to leave the bottom of the skirt alone for now. And now just to see what I did, we're going to scoot this pattern out here. Okay, so I'm actually going to leave that alone for now, and we're going to start the next piece. And so I want to go from the center up to our black guideline for our sweetheart. And then, just because I know I'm going to need these lines later, I'm going to shape this as best I can. Zoom way in. So another dot there, another anchor there, another anchor here, one in the middle, one there-ish, and then continuing on, I want these, this is going to be a little awkward, but that's okay. I'll reshape it here in a second. I'm going to keep this dart where it is for now. And I will figure out what to do there. It's going to be a little strange, but I think, yes, I think this will just end up drafting over to our other line when we're done. Okay, continuing to draw my pattern, ignoring that my pink line doesn't quite match my black line, don't worry about it. Hip line, not that I'll need it, I'll get rid of it later because of the flare. Making our pattern up to our original dart in the skirt. The skirt does not need to be contoured nearly as much as the bodice portion. The bodice is the most important part for this. More anchors and boom. Okay. So again, coming through here, I am adding what looks like a dart but won't be a dart once we're finished. Whoa, not what I wanted to do. I want to move this anchor. I'm going to come back in here and adjust my handles so that we get a smoother dart shape. I'm going to keep saying dart, and I totally don't mean an actual dart. So I apologize for that confusion, but that's what this looks like. Each one of these little slices does resemble a dart, so I'm going to keep calling it that. All right, making these fit that pink line better. That looks good. I'm going to move this over. So this was that original princess line. We're just going to move that over from there to there. So we just removed probably like a ½ an inch or a ¼ of an inch. And then I want this dart to go to there. This is another huge slice that we'll be taking out to get the shaping right. Another thing that happens in contouring, the side seam gets contoured inward to alleviate gapping under the armholes. In this one, the armhole is way dropped So like this pink line up here would show if you were doing right on the armhole, which I think would be kind of strange for a strapless garment, but you could do a regular bodice like this with this contour dart shaping and get something that fits really closely to your body. So like if you were doing like a dress form cover, I would definitely suggest doing a regular bodice sloper like this, but then cutting out all these slices when you make your pattern, and that way it'll fit perfectly. There'll be no space for ease, which is fine for a dress form. Dress forms don't need ease. They don't breathe. If they did, that would be very creepy. All right, we're moving this one over here. And I think we're good on the shape for that one. So again, I will grab this and I'm going to move it out here. Move these both at the same time over this way. All right, so they're looking kind of funky, which is fine. But you can see, basically, this is the shape that I have drawn here. With our skirt pieces, these are fisheye darts, which should now fit even better. Yeah, so I will show you what to do with these slices here in a second. Let's get the back. I've drawn this little, black guideline here, and pattern pieces will happen the same. I think I'm just going to go from my pink lines instead of moving them. So yeah, this eliminates any ease needed for the back. These little pink lines on the shoulder here would contour the shoulders better, but we don't need those because this is strapless. But like I said, if you're doing a dress form cover, totally, just in case. So we're just going to draw over our pink lines. And I will true these patterns later. I just want to make sure I get the basic shape down before we keep going. I'm going to do this. Oh, I do need, where is, not there, there, okay. Because this dress is most likely 4 panels, I'm going to keep doing panels along the princess seam lines that were already drawn there. Okay. And I probably do want some curves there, but I will curve more of those later. And let's put a notch there so I know where the waist is. And we've got our back pattern. The back pattern pretty much is done. I'm not sure exactly how they did it. What it looks like here is that they've got an overlap with buttons in the front, which might mean that there's no opening in the back, which would be fine. I'll show you how to draft that when I make this pattern not so ugly. But yeah, so I think we're good with the back pattern the way it is. I'll add a bunch of flair to these pieces later. Let me grab this, we're gonna Control X, lock this, Control F. My favorite thing that I learned in Illustrator is that if you do like a cut and paste or copy and paste, if you hit Control F instead of Control V, then it'll place it exactly where it was. So like if I grab those, Control C, Control V puts it in the middle of the image, which annoying, but Control F puts it right on top of what was already there, which is super rad. So remember that, super good information. All right, now so that we can actually see what's going on, I remove that layer. And this is basically our pattern. Let me get rid of these guidelines so you can see what's going on. So basically, the basis of this, of any strapless sweetheart shaped dress pattern here. So now I'm going to show you what to do with these slices, the ones that got kind of funky before. My favorite thing to do when moving darts around, is to cut the anchor points. I'm not sure quite how many anchor points are in here. I probably should have drafted that a little differently. I'm just going to hit C 100 times until it cuts apart. That's not going to work. Okay. Let's use our direct selection tool to grab all of these lines, these path lines, Let's see if this will, it doesn't really want to do it that way either. Wow, also not what I wanted. Okay, I'm going to put a guideline crosshair on my bust point, and then because I can't see what I'm doing, I am going to move, not you, this one, I don't want to move that one. This one I will move along that line, and this one I will move along there. Okay. So I'm going to cut all of these so that each slice of this front bodice pattern is separate. I'm going to reshape this one because that's super funky. I'm going to put them back where they go. Again, reshape, super funky. Okay, now we have slices that we can work with. Let's move them all back so that they're all here. Okay, so the principles of contouring, we are getting rid of all of these extra empty spaces to make sure that this pattern really fits the bust really well. So closing the darts, which are not actually darts, we're going to just rotate this whole shape and close it there. And then same thing again with this slice. We're going to rotate and close it there. And I see that it's a little wonky, but that's okay. We'll just drew that off here in a bit. And so, yeah, actually that looks pretty good. All right, same thing again. I'm gonna have to find all my anchor points. On this one there's like a billion because there's a lot more slices on this half of the pattern. No, this one I want to stay put. This one, go there. That one will go there. And that one will go there. Okay. So I don't want to cut that one. That one's going to stay put. I think. Yeah. No. Wait a minute. Let's look. Yes. So this line with this anchor point stays put. I'm not going to worry about slicing that one, but we will slice the other 3 points and then realign them back to our bust point. Usually when I do things like darts, any fisheye shaping, any of that fun stuff, I like to move the dart point away from the bust point so that you don't get sort of the bullet bra effect, unless that's what you're going for. But this time I want all of them to be right on. So now that we have our separate shapes, there is some awkwardness here because of how I drafted that shape, but I'm just going to change this slice when I move it. So let's rotate it first. And grab its anchor there and then slide this down. And then to fix this crazy big discrepancy here, I'm just going to move this anchor point to there. I don't super love that shape, but I think it'll be okay. We'll come back to that in a second. I think, no, actually I want to do that right now. I think what I'm going to do is just change the handle to match there. And that way you'll have, what is it, convex curve over the bust and then a concave curve under the arm. I like that. That looks a lot better. All right. Let's grab that slice and match it as best we can. And then, oh, I did actually need to snip that front piece. Let's hope it works. Nope, it didn't like that. All right. Gosh. Sometimes the overlapping anchor points can get really frustrating. Why are these all of a sudden connected? They should not be connected. Okay, you go over there. You go over there. That's what I wanted. Snip this one. And then move these back. I'll move those back in a second. Let's get this going first. And then you're going to bring this down so that it matches. I'm going to grab its anchor and then match it to that anchor. Okay, good. Brilliant. All right. Now we're going to move these these guideline slices back. Okay. So now you see how this is a huge difference to the original, which, here, I'll pop that back up. It's a little hard to see, but I mean, we went from taking out an 1 3/8 at the waist, directed up toward the bust, and then probably an 1 3/8 on the side, directed toward the bust. And now we're taking out probably a span of three-ish inches, and then maybe 2-ish inches here. And this creates such a nice curve that will cup the bust better. This is the problem with a lot of strapless things, that the students that I was teaching, they were finding that they had a lot of problems getting this shape right. And if you do it like this, you won't have that problem. I am seeing a problem that I don't like here. And this, I think, I just want it to move to there. Yeah, that'll be fine. I could probably have moved all of these pieces. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so if I grab this and that and this and the other anchor, and then move this along, oh dang, move this, shifting it, if it'll let me. Sometimes it will. There we go. Oh, let me just grab that one. All right, let's try that again. Grab this anchor, grab that anchor, grab this anchor, grab that anchor, and then slide these over. And that's pretty close. I mean, I don't know if I like that at all, really. For this, it's fine. At least that way, this is a straight line and we didn't remove any extra space here. And that's what I do with all of my dart shaping, is that as long as I take away or add just as much space in one spot as the other, then I'm not worried about removing too much excess from my pattern. So right now, I'm just realigning all of my anchor points. And this curve, I'll smooth out here in a second, but pretty much that's how you achieve a nicely contoured curved bust line. So now I'm going to remove all of these excess lines. These are going away. These are going away. I want these gone and those gone. And so it is a little pointy, but I will fix that. First though, I want to do my favorite click, drag, join, click, drag. Oh, are those already joined? Oh, they are. Okay, that's why it won't let me join them. I'm going to remove my guidelines because they get in the way when I do this. I don't need them right now anyway. So this is kind of a cluster, and that's actually pretty good. I'm not going to be too worried about that. Oh, except for it won't let me click, drag, and join. Sometimes if you do Control-A and then Control-Shift-G several thousand times, it'll be more likely to cooperate. There might just be, there was just an anchor floating in space. There's probably still another anchor floating in space. Let's move that up a little. Actually, I don't see it, so maybe there wasn't. Okay, I don't know why it doesn't like that. Let's try this side and see if there's an anchors floating in space over here. So there's one. And for some reason, it's still not happy with it. Okay. Well, let me get these other... Oh, that one's already connected. Let's join these. Let's join those. Let's join those. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put my guides back because I can't edit the curve like I want to without these lines being connected. And for some reason, not sure why, they don't want to be connected. So I'm going to delete that line, delete that, and then its anchor. And because I have this shape, I'm going to delete that line too. And then, see, there were 2 anchor points floating in space that were causing this problem. All right, now I'm going to use my pen tool, getting the minus to connect it. And then I need some curve handles here. And then that little box means that it's completed. All right, same idea here. Get rid of this one, get rid of that one. Oops, not the whole pattern. Find that there's at least one that I can see anchor that was keeping me from getting those connected. So now, pen minus, I want this, probably not super curved, and then I want that to connect with the circle. Okay, so now those are connected. And so what you saw me do here was add curve to these shapes, which will make them a lot easier to stitch, because corners don't work. Not for this, at least. So there's a little bit of curve there. I kind of want to add a little more to the bottom of this. Yeah, that's nice. And then this front pattern is probably pretty good as is. This is going to be a little awkward making sure. So what you should do is, with a guideline at one point or another, put a notch on your pattern piece, just so that you know how to match these two together. So in theory, this should, well, actually, let's show you in practice. Let's move this pattern piece to here and walk it. So using the rotate tool, we are walking. There's probably going to be a strange point above the bust because of the way that that's shaped, which means I'm going to have to remove that. So I did pretty good, actually. I am going to take this along that line and just remove. And I'm going to grab all 3 of these anchors because I want them all to move together. Grab this guy, grab that guy, grab this guy. Oh, there was another anchor point there. That's okay. I still want those to match. I'm going to just delete this. I don't need that one. So yeah, that looks pretty good. It's kind of awkward in its shaping here, but that's because there are so many anchors. I can smooth this out, make it a corner, and then make it a curve. Ooh, see, look, that's already nicer. All right, so what I'm going to do now, where's that anchor there? Since I'm sure that these are matching better now, I'm going to move this back to where it was. Rotate tool, using my waistlines as the guide. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I think what would be best is to add a little bit of curve here. Let's see what happens. Ooh, actually, I like that. That's really a nice curve. Let's do the same thing over here. So what I did was I clicked on the anchor, went up to convert, and just convert it to curve. Ah, see, oh, those are beautiful pattern pieces. Look at that. That curve will be so much nicer to sew together than the corner that it was before. I'm very happy with that. So I will have to do a lot of curve for the flare, but I'll get to that in a second. What I want to do now is add what looks to me probably like an inch of overlap here. An inch of overlap will give you, what is it, like you could have buttons that are up to 7/8 of an inch-ish. I would probably do like 3/4 inch, just to give you some ease on either side of that button band. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to draw a box that is 1 inch wide by, let's give 20 inches for now. I'm not going to need that much space, but just so I can see what's going on. 20 inches was huge, completely unnecessary. What I should do is make sure that it is 8 inches-ish or matching this hip line. That way it'll open wide enough so that you can get into it. Although, let me draw another box. I just want to see what it looks like to have inch wide and probably a 9-inch long zipper in the back is what I would do from waistline down. Okay, so that's going to be, I don't know why that's not the default. Thank you, now I can see it. Okay, so this is my button band extension now. And I did that so that from the waistline down, it's about 9 inches, which is enough space for you to get into it if there's no zipper in the back. And what I'm going to do here, because this pattern just continues this really lovely curve here to get that overlap, I'm just going to try my best to, that's really a lot there. That's not bad. I don't hate that. So, I'll delete my guidelines because they're in my way. What I'm going to do is add an anchor there, and this anchor was there before. It will go away now. Using my A tool, deleting all of those unnecessary pieces. And now I can click, drag, and join. Click, drag, and join. Okay, so there's my button band overlap. You would end up stitching it together, skirt front, at this corner, and then you'd have an underlap, which is probably the same amount. Transform, reflect, copy, reflecting it this way just so you can see what I'm talking about. So you have these two pieces, and you would stitch them together so that the center fronts of the skirt match, but then you have one pattern that overlaps the other this much, and that way you get that really nice button band extension there. Okay, now let's see, what I want to do is get a skirt that is a nice curve, and so I always do this and I always forget the actual measurement. So the waist circumference is about 25 inches, and so to get that as a circle, we're doing a circle with a height and width of 7.95. So that's our waist circumference. And I think the easiest way for me not to get this wrong is to line these up first and then draw a big circle skirt around it. So where is my waistline notch? It is there. And if I put that here, you see, I didn't like that. I should have put a notch on my pattern piece on the front where the waistline is. So I'm going to do that now just so I can see what I'm doing. Tell me that went on the pattern and not the guide. Yes, okay. So scoot this down so that this matches here. And I'm doing this since my waistline is here. I'm still matching that waistline notch to the bottom of this circle, even though it looks like it should be up here. Don't worry about it. And I'm going to rotate from the middle. I wonder if it'll let me. Let's see what happens. This is a longer video than I expected. Hope you're enjoying it. Okay. I'm rotating from here. Yes, it's working just like I wanted. I want that to go there. Perfect. All right, and I'm going to continue with the rest of my pattern pieces. Grab this anchor, line it up to that anchor, and rotate to match my waist. And same with the back pieces. So I had the idea for this while I was designing my sister's wedding dress, and it actually worked out so well the very first time I did it that this is basically going to be the only way I ever make curved hemlines ever again. It seems to be the easiest way to get the curve to look at super nice, you know. Sometimes when you just do freehand curves like this, they turn out really wonky, and I really don't like them. So you can sort of already visualize what's happening as far as the circle goes. I am going to draw another circle. Let's just, for now, we're going to say 15 by 15, which is way too small, obviously. But this way, I'm going to place it there, and if you hit Shift, Alt, and then drag one of your corners, it grows from the center. Another one of those favorite little tricks that I've learned. And that's pretty close to the hemline of the skirt. I like that. I think we're going to leave it. It's kind of hard to see, but I think the green helped for the other part. So now what I'm going to do is reshape my hemline to match this circle on all pieces first. I don't know if I did this first on the other videos I've done, but this is a good way to make sure that all of your hems end up being the same length. For certain things, it's a good idea also to make the back a little bit longer than the front because you have a butt, and just to make sure that you can sit down comfortably in it, it's a good idea to have that. Okay, so I want to make sure that this inner dart area stays a dart because this looks like it fits the hips so well. So we're just going to adjust from here for now and sort of eyeball wherever that line would be. I could put a guide there and rotate it, but I don't really want to. So we're just going to guess-ish. A lot of what I do, and you can quote me on this, a lot of what I do is guesswork. This is what I think would work, and then the only way to figure out if it actually does work is to sew a sample and see what happens. For this, I am going to remove the hip anchor, which gives this a straight line, which is fine. This is going to be a very wide pattern piece, which is no big deal. This has that really lovely fit and flare with all these flare cones, so it's fine that these patterns are so wide. And then, again, I have to sort of eyeball a center there-ish. Whoa, not the circle. And I'm just filling in space and filling in space. So this pattern piece is way too big. I'm going to try to draft that back a little to be more similar to that front pattern. That's pretty close. Yeah, we'll say that's good enough. Okay. And then the back can be extra wide. All right, so now that we have our shapes down, let's do Shift-C. That's our curve point tool, or our curve line. Edit the curve, I don't remember what it's called exactly, but Shift-C. And just scoot these guys out. And now we've got that. And I do like the contour shaping here. I don't know if it's going to be necessary because of the waistline. I don't think these hip lines are necessary. So let's get rid of the contour darts below the waist. And actually, let's do that on the front as well. Because the waistline is what's most important here. These straight lines will just, fall over the hip line. There's enough room there, is what I'm getting at. Okay. Like I said, words are hard. Cabin fever is hard to deal with. All right, so deleting my circle guidelines, and now we're going to re-line up all of our pattern pieces to this guideline here just for fun. This way you can see how nice this all turned out. Last week I mentioned that I was going to sample the funky pattern I made. However, I got laid off from my job, which had the printer that I used to make my patterns. So I have not been able to print out that pattern. If I somehow get access to a large format printer, I will try to print that out and show you guys what I think, it'll look like. But until that day, you just have to imagine it. Same with this one. I really want to try this out just because I like how I did the contour shaping around the bust. I think it's really important to get that shaping down. Also, already apologizing for the upspeak. I do that a lot without thinking about it. Okay, moving this way out here because these patterns are huge. These guys. I always think it's funny that I refer to pattern pieces, especially for dresses and stuff, as guys. I'm not really sure why. That's probably just like the pretend gender neutral. Anyway, so your contour dart original pattern, which looks like this, a mess, with these pink lines, has now become this very curved, cupped, almost like a corset foundation. And from this, I could draft a corset. Next week I will. I'll do a corset and then a pencil skirt to go underneath it just because. But these are your strapless foundation patterns. And so again, click. I want all of those, object, path, offset path, 0.5. Oops, I did not hit 0.5, I hit enter. Object, path, offset path. There we go, 0.5. And now you've got your half-inch seam allowance on all your pieces. And that's pretty much it. If you would like to, you could remove the seam allowance from the center back and then just cut the back on the fold. Because this has that center front button opening, it doesn't need a back zipper. It might still be a good idea to have one, but if you wanted to eliminate it, that's what you would do. So this back piece cut on fold, the rest of these cut normal. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. So this was a longer video than I expected, but I think it showed some really good contour shaping information. If you liked what I did here, hit that subscribe button, hit a like for me, let me know what you think. And if you don't have any suggestions, next week I will do a sweetheart overbust corset and a pencil skirt based on this idea of contouring. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry for the awkwardness. Yeah, thanks for watching.